All right, so we're going to start off again. This is the virtual tour of the Delmar Commercial Corridor. So I'll start off with a breakdown of the districts. So we're going to be talking about the area of Delmar that starts at Taylor, and then we're going to move west through to the Loop. The first district that we're going to be talking about is going to be Kingsway Development, and that sits within the Bridge districts. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll move forward to the Makers district, and then we'll keep going on down, and then we'll be talking about the Delmar Divine and the Health and Human Services district, and then we'll talk about the Opportunity district, which is west of Goodfellow. And also within that area is the Delmar de Bolivar form-based code. And then we'll move on down to the East Loop SID to the end of the tour. So a couple of high-level things I just wanted to share with you. So Delmar is part of the city's central corridor. It's characterized by a diverse conglomeration of organized planning and development activities to support the building of a sustainable corridor. So the corridor consists of these sections. What I just got through was the Delmar Bridge District, which contains Kingsway development from Taylor to Kings Highway. And I believe it goes from Delmar over to Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. And Kevin can chime in and say more about that. And it's also, the Bridge District is also where Launch Code is located. So when we keep moving further west, then we get to the Makers District, and then the Delmar Divine and Health and Human Services area, where, of course, the Delmar Divine is, and then you have confidential mental health services, 3 private practices, including a chiropractor, the Betty Jean Kerr People's Health Center, and the Hopewell Center, which is the Lacey Clay Elementary Center now, and then the Social Security Administration. And the Opportunity or Development District with available mixed-use properties and the Delmar de Bolivar form-based code is right beyond. So when we get down here, so that's where we are. This is actually the form-based code here. So this is the Opportunity District. And then once we move through there, we have the concentration of personal services and personal and professional services that are predominantly Black-owned businesses there. And then we get to the East Loop SID, where there's retail and there's the entertainment district. As you can see from looking at this map, there's a lot of small projects, small and large scale projects that are going on along the Delmar corridor. You have, again, the Bridge District and Launch Code. You have the Maker District, and there are several more activities that are going on, specifically right here at the corner of Union, where they're going to be in the building that's adjacent to it, that Jason is going to talk more about. And then moving further down, and we also learned yesterday about transit infrastructure that is proposed for this corner here, which is going to be really exciting, because that's going to speak to infrastructure, which we also need in order for there to be sort of a continuum of services and development along the corridor. Okay, so at this point, this is when I wanted to stop the presentation, and then I'm going to, yes, thank you, Lisa. The Metro Mobility Hub is what's being discussed for that corner along Union. So now I want to go ahead and get started with the actual tour. So, little housekeeping. So hold your questions until later, and then we are going to have each, so you'll sort of get a cue of when to come in and talk about your different projects in each sector as the tour is moving along. So let's see, get this. Okay, so first, I want to make sure everybody is here that needs to be here. Can everybody see the tour of the Delmar corridor that should be showing right now?
Have nothing.
Okay. All right, that's what I was trying to see. Okay. Okay. Are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the way that the tour runs, again, it starts at Taylor. So Kevin, you will be up first, and then after Kevin, then it'll be Jason for the Makers District, and then Maxine for the Delmar Divine. And it's not narrated. You're going to be the narrator. All right, let's go.
Can I sing?
Sure.
Please don't.
All right.
All right. Oh, we're moving kind of fast.
Well, I can stop. Okay, so I can stop it, but I can't slow it down. So,
Okay.
so we're going to work within those constraints. So
All right.
you
You want to
tell
go
me.
from here?
Yeah.
Okay. So we basically just passed the roughest part of the area. This is the last portion of Delmar to be planned. Originally, we had planned for a $25 million project with the Independence Center. Yeah, that corner right here, all the way up to that building right there. Stop. And unfortunately, the Independence Center did not survive. Its funding did not survive COVID. But the exciting part about it is that we are retooling now for a much more exciting project that's probably going to contain some live work units, condos. The other part that's important is this entire strip from where we are going forward, and you can advance, is also included in our TIF. So stop right here. Our infrastructure budget includes $4.5 million to create traffic calming on Delmar, which basically means we're going to reduce Delmar in our area from 4 lanes to 2 lanes, widen sidewalks, including an area for us to eat outside, bike lanes, new street lights, new camera system, new tree line that works. Advanced a little bit. Okay, and stop. So we just passed 2 buildings, which are very important to the, okay, yeah, right there. So you'll see those 2 buildings, one with that little bluish sign and the one to the right of it on the right-hand side. Those are 2 office buildings that we're converting to office upstairs, retail at the bottom. The building furthest to the west is elevation. We actually break ground on that in December. We're trying to hit December, worst case January, but that is funded, and it's going to be a $6.5 million project. There are 28 offices upstairs, retail at the bottom. It's all sold out. To the left, you'll see that entire block from that building to the west on the left-hand side. That's Diane Cullinan's building, the Euclid Lofts. So from that stop right there, you see that church right there? From that
Mm-hmm.
corner all the way to that building is going to be the Bridge Apartments. So that's 200 units, market rate apartments, 12,000 square feet of retail. And it takes over that entire block. It'll include four stories of parking to feed the entertainment and the offices that's on the north side of the street.
Mm-hmm.
And we designed that building to include a rooftop bar that faces the elevation project and faces Baird, as opposed to having a building that just faces the Central West End. We're using this building to metaphorically connect both sides of the street as best we can. And to your earlier point, the actual district stops at Page. It does not go over to Martin Luther King.
Okay.
And that pretty much takes us to Kings Highway where we stop.
Yep. Okay. And we just threw in some more information about development with launch code and their activity here in the corridor. So this is further explaining the bridge district. And like I said, you can see the activity here at this intersection, and you can see the natives.
And the building to the right has recently been sold. If you stop right here,
Is it this one?
well, the entire project, the entire building has been sold. So there, yeah, right there to the right. That was the biggest problem property in the area.
This, yeah,
That whole
this,
building. And
uh-huh.
so it's going to take them 2 years to rehab it, but they're going to get toward workforce housing, adding workforce units in there, and ultimately a few market rate. And then just to the west of it, there's an old bank, which we're converting to a banquet center. So it'll be sort of our Windows on Washington project.
Here.
And yeah, that right there.
Yeah,
We're just
uh-huh.
literally just waiting on historic tax credits.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin, did you said you had some retail landed for one of your faces down there in the primary two buildings already?
Yes, so in the elevation project, we have the UPS store, Jamba Juice, small eatery called the Original Hot Dog Factory, and a tiny cigar bar, about a 2,000 square foot cigar bar.
Well, fantastic. That's great news.
Yeah, we wanted to try and attract, if not create, retail that would draw in the area. Like we didn't want to do a cell phone store or anything like that. Just something that would kind of take the model that was very successful over on Manchester and adopt some of that to this portion of Delmar.
Sure.
All right. So Jason, you're up next.
I think you can stop, just leave it right there for a second.
Okay.
So just 2 seconds of background here. The Delmar Maker District does go from Kings Highway to Union. And we're really trying to focus in on the branding opportunities right now with regards to the Delmar Maker District. There's going to be 3 components to that, one being what we're looking at right now, one being right in the middle, which we'll get to in a second. That will be a new workforce housing, new construction project. And then on the opposite end at Union, both on both ends of the district, we have the corner lot on the south side of the street with the ability to do something that's interesting, that's not only going to be interesting from an architectural perspective, but also something that's going to be an opportunity for us to really move the needle on placemaking. And so the building to the left at 5,000 Delmar is this old Boost Mobile building. It's not really that old, but it's a Boost Mobile building. We closed on that in about a week. And part of the master plan there is to do an extension to make that an L-shaped development. And right now, the blocking for that looks to be a very modern project that pushes the facade of the thing out to the streets, which is very common now with form-based code. And the original idea is to remodel the existing building as well, and keeping in kind of the new style of some of the main elements of the Delmar Maker District, do potentially some kind of projection on the building, the new construction piece, as an entrance to start introducing technology. And I think the first phase of that development will be, the new construction piece will be an event space that, as the district comes along a little bit, will eventually get turned into little retail bays. So we will maintain a little bit of parking there, about half of what's there now. And then the original building will be reimagined. Like I said, something more fitting with the kind of the architectural theme of some of the projects you've seen already. So we're very excited about that kind of primary entranceway on this end particularly. So,
Okay.
and then as you move further west, we're gonna go past the KFC and the Burger King kind of components. And then on the left-hand side, basically right there to the left of that median, there's a gigantic empty space. And so in the next 2 weeks, you can stop there. The big grassy area you see to the left before you hit Craft Alliance, we are proposing doing a market rate, 100% market rate apartment project with first mixed use, first floor retail restaurant, and then adjacent to that, a senior deal. Again, that will be 55 and older, but we'll also have, will be mixed use and have restaurant, retail, creative office on the first floor, potentially maybe even something, probably services that are going to be more fitting for a senior deal. We just started some conversations potentially with trying to figure out if we can get creative with eliminating some of the surface parking with regards to this funeral home on the right-hand side. Got a couple of proposals out there, and nothing too far yet. But the idea would be to, as we're looking at master planning this district as a whole, we really, good urban planning is trying to look at some of the key components to the form-based code and eliminating some of this opportunity for the seas of parking. And even if you do, smaller scale construction along the street facing facade to bring about, the walkability and pushing all the parking to the back. We're really trying to figure out if we can work out something there with that particular building owner to keep them in the neighborhood clearly, but to, just try to eliminate some of this surface parking. So if you go a little further down, the Craft Alliance building that's on the south side of the street is occupied by Craft Alliance. There's 2 retail bays. We're negotiating with an herb grower for one of the retail bays, and we're going to have a coffee house that will open April 1st in the remaining bay called Brutraloom. So they're on the western end of that building. We're going to energize not only the sidewalk, but there's a lot along the side of that building in order to bring to the table some outdoor seating. Then if you go a little further down to the old barber shop on the right-hand side, or the north side of that street, we just closed on that project. Yeah, right in here. And that project, we already have site control of the 2 lots to the east of it. So we're working on some blocking redevelopment plans in order to potentially do a first floor addition again on the front half of those 2 empty lots. That would also create a courtyard of outdoor space that would be sidewalk facing. We're potentially talking to a nonprofit photography group that does photography training for new young professionals. So we're kind of excited about that. The second and third floor of the building, I think we're right now, because of the size of the property and just looking at typical construction cost constraints, we're probably going to end up going some kind of a 2-story interconnected office space. So if you go further past the blood bank and on the left-hand side, what looks like a big piles of dirt is now completed. If you stop there, there's a temporary BMX bike track that we're going to have live streaming video of things happening on that lot that are going to start projecting on some of the buildings. And then next to that, there's an amphitheater that is now has the sprinkler system installed. And so probably not yet this year, but definitely beginning in the spring, there's going to be an outdoor concert series that will take place there to energize the district. So we're very excited about that. And if you keep going down, clearly you guys know about Maid and Magic House. And then there's a little new restaurant adjacent to it on the west side. In the first floor, that black storefront right there, and then stop again. So right here is where if you stop, right here is where we're proposing on the right-hand side, adjacent to this building with the black storefront, there's going to be a walkway that connects the parking lot that's on the left-hand side here, the main parking lot, all the way up to Enright. And we're going to do a pedestrian walkway to knit the community together that's going to have public foodscaping, public art that's going to be built in a manner that's going to be kid-friendly to play on. And again, on the right-hand side or the north side of the street, there's 42 units of workforce housing with 9 makers workshops, a little retail store, and a restaurant space. And then on the end right, we're going to do a double loaded housing development with 8 new construction homes that also have garage workshops as part of them. This will be right here across the street on the right. We are in final negotiations with AT&T in order to take over the majority of that parking lot as well and push all that parking to the back. As you can see, my theme is twofold: always mixed use development in areas like this for good urban planning, and always bringing the buildings out to the sidewalk and pushing the parking in the back. So that's going to be my mantra until I'm old and gray here. So we're really pushing hard in order to get that accomplished. In addition to kind of the branding idea here, this walkway that I'm talking about is going to be our second opportunity to really push the brand for this district. We're negotiating right now some additional acquisitions of some projectors in order to project the brand, and some potentially have some competitions for projecting people's art and things on the AT&T building that you see right in front of you. We're also working on potentially having an interactive part of this walkway that will connect the Made parking lot up to Enright. Well, there'll be the ability to utilize lasers in order to project people's art in real time. So we're excited about that too. And then pushing forward some more here, going west, you all familiar with Third Degree on the left-hand side. And once you get past Third Degree, you can stop here. There is a woman developer that owns the building we just passed that we're trying to figure out if there's a way in which we can help globally with this particular project to get it kickstarted again. So that's going to be one thing maybe that the Main Street group can help connect the dots here and helping to see if we can move that along, because that's a really key project in the neighborhood. And then you have a funeral home on the left-hand side. And then if you keep going down, the next set of projects that are planned, if you stop right here, the building on the right, in half of the strip center will be getting torn down. We have another new construction project, restaurant, retail first floor, commercial space on the second, rooftop deck that goes along with the restaurant. As that project, the leasing package for that gets launched, we're working on that right now. We'll start construction on that, hopefully spring of next year. And then with the success of that, we'll be tearing down the remaining balance of that strip center and doing a second phase of the new construction piece. And then we'll see it at the end of the district. But the old project on the corner will be a historic tax credit renovation. So if you stop right here too, you're familiar with the old auto body project on the left. We're trying to finalize our deal right now to potentially make that a brewing school, education facility, have a component that would function just like a normal brewery, and then also be a museum for the Brewers Guild. So we're excited about having outdoor seating and have that also become a brewing education facility. That's kind of in motion right now, probably also starting construction in the spring. And then if you go just a little further, the 4-family that is the derelict 4-family that's right after this auto body project has been acquired, and that's probably going to be taken down because it's kind of beyond repair, which will open up the opportunity to make that corner lot larger for another mixed use new construction development. That's real early in its infancy of concepting that project. And then the final project is here, like I said, on the right, that 3-story historic project on the corner will be historic tax credit project, residential on the upper floors, retail creative office on the first. So And then at this corner of Union and Delmar is our last opportunity to really play up the brand of the district. And so that's part of the process that we're working on right now as we speak as well.
Awesome. That is a lot of activity. And unless you hear it and are able to see it sort of at the same time, it's hard to imagine what all of that would look like. But when you are able to conceptualize based on what you're looking at immediately, it's a lot. It is a lot of development, and it is definitely going to change the face of this stretch of Delmar. Thank you so much, Jason.
Absolutely. Glad to be part of it.
All right.
Jason, I got a question for you. Do you own the southeast corner of Union and Delmar, or control that?
The southeast corner of Union and Delmar, we own the Twin Birds own the 4-family, and they're negotiating on the corner right now. That is not completed.
Got it.
Southeast corner is the church.
Oh, no, southeast is the
It's a lot.
is a lot, yeah.
Lot.
The south,
Oh, yeah, that
southwest is
lot.
the
Yeah,
church.
right. That empty
Yeah.
lot, right.
I just want to connect the dots on the mobility piece.
Right.
And if you,
Yeah.
Right.
we could talk later basically about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing too, on that corner with the mobility center, if that, thinking about that, that could change the retail too. And there's really interesting things in Europe around, what kind of stores do really well around, transit stations. And if we really think about that, it could be absolutely fantastic. Like things that people can do pretty quickly, within a short window of time, like, food, but not fast. I don't mean fast food, but, takeout, really some great places. Korea has a ton of them. And if anybody, Eric, you might have some research on that, or somebody might, but people are coming there to take a bus, and what do they do while they're waiting? They can go in there and shop, buy something. And that the negative of the transit station is that this great retail corner here could be, sort of covered up by a bus stop instead of being open to the people seeing the storefronts, the branding. If it was a Warby Parker store, which are really affordable eyeglasses, or a great I don't know, soda shop or something like that, that you wouldn't see the branding behind the train station, the bus stop there, if it's on that, the way they were describing it. So you really have to kind of know beforehand, if it's going to be a bus stop, that's all fine too, but what do we want there that'll fit into a fast moving transit station?
Well, I will tell you too, that's one of the things that from a good urban planning perspective, that both of the ownership groups that I'm working with on this are very in tune with not looking at the bus situation as, as a stepchild. And so even on the 5,000 Delmar project, right now in some of the blocking, it's actually taking the idea of that bus stop being there and incorporating into the architecture of the building, and to really be thinking about how it affects the neighborhood comprehensively. So to your point, I mean, even portion of one of the storefronts, we could elevate and incorporate the bus stop. So it's not just hanging out there blocking things, but it's really being incorporated into the architecture of the project much more, delicately. So we definitely are very interested in exploring that. So yeah, I think it's good timing.
In good hands, you'll take care of it.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep moving here on the tour. And we are coming now through what the Health and Human Services area. So just right there, we're passing a confidential mental health facility, and then we're coming up on the Delmar Divine. So I'm going to
Stop right there for 1 second.
Yeah,
right here. So before you get to that,
pause.
go back a little bit,
Okay.
a little bit more. To Beverly Drive, where Beverly Drive, it passed between this and the next. Okay, right at the beginning of Beverly Drive there. That used to be the site of, it's interesting that you came up with this name. I really like the idea of it being a Health and Human Services district, because it wasn't necessarily intended to be that, but as you think about what's around it and what's in our building, I think that's a great idea. And what's next to us with People's Clinic and
Mhm.
the mental health, the
Mhm.
Children's Mental Health Clinic. But that was that was the original site of Jewish Hospital where
Yeah.
Beverly Drive is, and it moved to the Kings Highway campus in 1926. So all this
Yeah.
area has been, Delmar had everything: hospitals, business, homes. It had everything
Absolutely.
going for it. And this is all developed. So this is all really great. And then you come upon, after you leave this at Beverly Drive, you come upon these apartments that are here that are still kind of challenging, but at least we know you could stop right there. If you could pause it. Those apartments that we just passed, the railroad apartments, just to add some perspective, those are owned by an out-of-town developer, and they are improving them. They've been doing a lot of brickwork on the side of the house that faces our parking lot. But these were built for the railroad workers of the World's Fair. So they're these little tiny apartments that go up and down. They were probably held bunk beds and are really, really small. So it would be great if we could figure out a new development for this part of the project. Again, expanding office or apartments horizontally and then putting the parking behind it instead of parking on the street. But we own the parking lot on the other side. You can go a little bit further, Kimberly. We own the parking lot here, and now that parking lot's totally redone. So this, I don't know how these pictures don't come up newer than they are, but this parking lot was totally redone now and is, if any of you know how expensive it is to do a parking lot, it's like $3,000 per space to do a parking lot. So this parking lot right here at Belt is redone and ready for our apartments to move in. So welcome to the Delmar Divine. It does look a lot better than this right now. And that's sort of what it'll look like in a little while, not too long from now. But right here, just stop right here for a second. On the left is your this is the office building. This was built in there's two buildings, 1962 and 1965, and they were doctors' offices. And while those windows from the outside look like little prison windows to me, that's how I always looked at them. When they're all redone now, and when you look from the ends, when you go in these offices, the light is so wonderful, and so everybody that's now in there thinks they've died and gone to heaven because the light is so welcoming. And the entrance to the building is somewhere carved out. You can't see it now, but it's carved out of that parking lot. So we're redoing the sidewalks will all be done. The landscaping is going to be done. There's some trees around here that are historic Penrose trees that we are not allowed to take down, and we wouldn't want to take them down, but we are going to have them pruned and made more beautiful so that they grow in a healthier environment than they're growing right now. And one of our tenants is Gateway Greening, now called Seed St. Louis, and they're going to be helpful and responsible in helping do that. So this is the main office building. This is technically building 2, and then building 1. Each of these floors is about 7,000 square feet. And the other building that's next to it, the size of the floors are about 13,000 square feet. We only have 2 spaces left to rent. Everything else is rented, which is really fantastic. We have about 34 tenants, from the largest one being BHR that moved from the county to the city, and Behavioral Health Resources, which works also with the city and providing social workers to the police teams now. That's starting off on a great foot. So we're excited about that. And the other tenant that's in our space is the Charity CFO, which is a fractional shares CFO organization that works for nonprofits. And they already expanded once, and now they're going to expand again. They've taken a whole nother, almost a half a floor on another floor because they really want, they're growing so fast and rapidly across the country. So we're really excited about them. And then the Mental Health Board gives some money, I think, to BHR, but BHR is a state-funded organization. They also get funds from other states because they do their work, their call center work across the country. I don't know which way this is going to go. Is it going to turn on end right?
It's gonna go. So we're gonna go all the way down here. Yeah.
Well, that's all that wonderful housing that was built in the last few years, and we're really it's all filled. So there you can see. Stop right there. Stop right there. So there's a good example of. Oops, go back a little bit. Yeah, right there. Nope. Back. It's hard to pause this. Right there. Stop.
It is.
Okay. Yeah. So you can see the two. You can see the front building, which is the hospital. I call it the old hospital that was built in 1961. Yeah. And the one behind it is the original hospital. So
This one here.
yeah, so those
Mhm.
2 floors that you're pointing at are going to be apartments, and all the front row is going to be apartments. 150 apartments built for basically workforce housing, designed to be affordable to teachers, nurses, social workers, public health, public safety workers, those people that make that 35 to 55,000 and want to live in a cool place. And this is definitely a cool place. On the main floor will be retail. So St. Louis Community Credit Union, we don't have a bank down here. They're going to be there. We have the first Greater Health and Wellness Pharmacy, and with a mini clinic, started, the first Black pharmacy started in about 50 years in St. Louis. And then next to that will be Edward Jones. On this side, which you can't see, but if you could cross that wall that's there next to the black car, is a parking lot. That's the parking lot for the retail. And then there's an opening there that you'll enter a restaurant that is open to the public, a casual breakfast and lunch restaurant. That'll be great right there. That'll be inside the building, but accessible to the public, and you'll see signing. I wish I could show you that. God, it looks so much better even today. I was just there today in the rain. So it does change every day. You can see all this is when they were cleaning out the asbestos, and these are pretty old pictures. But right on the corner, it will be a beautiful sign that tells you that you're entering the Delmar Divine. And those are the residences. The apartments are called the residences at Delmar Divine. And then this is a view of the whole project when finished, but it did change because we had to tear down that emergency room that was there that wasn't historic. And that's where the location, you'll enter the apartments, and where the swimming pool for the apartments will be in the entrance to the gym. And our tenants in our office building will also have access to the gym. And then this building on the left that you can see there, that was the nursing school. And that is phase 2, but we already have people calling us and asking about when that's going to be ready, because I think they missed out on the early part and want to come into the second part. And we're talking to trying to make it into some really important concept that would really strengthen the neighborhood, not like one whole big thing, but around education or around more office space that may or may not be needed, depending on what goes on down the rest of the street that we just passed. So this in total between the two, phase 1 and phase 2, is about $100 million. Well, it was originally a $100 million project. And the first 2 projects were about 65 million, but now they're at 80 million. So this is probably going to be a total of 125 million. And it really costs more because number one, we wanted to make it nicer. Number 2, it is COVID made everything go up in cost. And then we found a lot of surprises behind the walls that we didn't really know about in an old building. Good ghosts, I call them. Another part of the building that's really important to know is on the main floor, Washington University is opening up an accelerator, although the name has not been decided yet. And the first group of businesses that they're accelerating are locally owned construction and contracting businesses that will be really important to help them grow and scale, as all this building that you're seeing just on our own street, let alone what's going on at BJC, St. Louis U, and Washington University. So everybody gets a share of the pie. And we're really excited about how that will be on the main floor of the old hospital, but really you won't notice that. You won't know that's where the break is, but it is the old hospital. It's the main floor. It's really long and really wide, about 25 feet wide and 265 feet long. That's going to be the public spaces of the co-working space. There's 2 courtyards. There's will be furniture for people to sit and talk and have coffee and collaborate. And then all of our shared conference space is also off of that main floor. And then also off of there, and you can't see it here, but we're building a community, about a 7,000 square foot community space, totally furnished, totally heated, air conditioned, Wi-Fi for the neighborhood. We'll have total access for after school classes to use the computers and do homework, or during the day classes for meetings, ward meetings, neighborhood meetings, an office even for St. Louis Main Street can be located there, all at no cost to the neighborhood, all part of what we're doing to make it accessible and have some fun with it. So there'll be after school tutoring. There'll be all kinds of things that we've been getting feedback on, and we're working on that program as we speak, but it'll be accessible from the back parking lot. And we'll have access to what's available inside the building as well. Obviously, we have some security. We have security, and we'll have a lot of volunteers, and we're counting on all of our good spirit to make this the beginning of what I call Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Just really a wonderful place to come. So I think that's pretty much the story, unless anybody has any questions. This neighborhood is booming. And these are old pictures, but there's houses selling all around there's great housing stock here. And there's houses selling all over the neighborhood, renovated houses for anywhere from 250 to 350 and higher. And we're excited to be a part of this neighborhood. One thing I did notice, can you go, I don't know if that'll go back a little bit, but right next to Grace and Peace Church is an apartment building that I just saw they changed the name to the Divine Apartments. They have a big sign out front that says the Divine Apartments. Make sure that people aren't confused. I'm going to deal with that personally, but I just wanted you to know there's a sign out there that says that, and they are not the Delmar Divine. The residence is at Delmar Divine. I don't know what they are inside, but they're trying to play off our name, and that's it's not illegal because we're not called the Divine Apartments, but it sounds a little racy to me. I'm not sure what kind of apartments they are. It's on Delmar and right next to Grace and Peace, right on the east of Grace and Peace Church. That building that's right next to that orange sign is what they're calling the Divine Apartments. So stay tuned. The best is yet to come. I'm hoping that this will become really great retail, like bakery, dry cleaners. We have a whole list of things that the people in the building want there. Optometrist, more food, lots of things that people want to occupy there. So anybody's got any good ideas, I think we can have a chocolate factory would be good too. But
Yeah.
really, great. And on De Bolivar, where they're building those new apartments, there was supposed to be, and the one apartments on the right side of the street, on the west side of the street, was supposed to be a Fields Market, but I don't know. They've slowed that project down dramatically. I'm not sure what's happening there, but I'm not sure if it'll still go there or not, but that would round out the neighborhood really well. You'd have a grocery store in walking distance of the project as well. So we're excited. It looks much better than that. Even
The
in
one thing that I think that would be remiss if we didn't bring up is it's part of I think one of the missions of Main Street. We should be figuring out a way in order to have all the developers that are working together here have a platform where we can collaboratively see what things are available. So as I'm potentially working with an optometrist. If they don't have a space for them, then I can go on here and see what else in this district. I mean, because if they're interested in being in the Makers District, but we don't have a space, then they're interested in this general neighborhood. We should be
absolutely
not be remiss to not find another. So somehow we need to come together and make sure that we have
all the space has been renovated on that corner there next to the church. Has all been renovated. And if you've noticed, the gates to Belt have been open for about 6 months now, and they're keeping them open, which is really great. So there's traffic through there. But this corner is being renovated. These storefront with apartments above them, and I think it's a great location for a myriad of food and services that could be in the neighborhood. But I think that one of the things we should do for Main Street, I agree with you, Jason, we should come up with a list of all the retailers that we would want. Like, Warby Parker is really affordable. Like if we wanted a brand name, but we wanted something, brand name, that might be one, or a local optometrist, but those are really expensive. Clarkson Eye Care is really expensive. So, and putting somebody in the eye care business is really expensive. You have to be an optometrist. But if we could get, this little area that we could have making it up, like a Warby Parker or some other, like a Lululemon or somebody like that, because we've got so many people. The density we're adding, there'll be 1,000 people living and working and visiting our building this time next year, plus the apartments on De Bolivar. There's a lot of opportunity, in this walkable area between Belt and De Bolivar to the park. I mean, basically, that there's enough to spread it out. I don't think you can have, when it's really thriving like it used to be. There were 41 restaurants between Martin Luther King and Delmar and Union and Skinker. That was a lot of delis and meat markets and bakeries. So when there's a lot of people, we can have a multiple variety of services. Dry cleaners. I want somebody to build a pet daycare, because all these apartments let pets have pets. Ours are going to have pets.
Yeah.
And people want to take their dog to a daycare place. They make money like crazy. And so, I think, but not necessarily would want it on Delmar. We might want it on one of the side streets, but it's definitely an option for a neighborhood with young people in it who love their pets and want to take care of them when they're at work all day.
Okay. Not to interrupt the flow of the conversation, but we need to keep moving because I want to make sure that Rochelle is actually able to talk about the state. So we're just going to go through the opportunity zone here, which of course it ends up with people's health clinic, but we also come upon the Social Security office there. And to the left there is the Delmar Developer form-based code. And so when we go beyond there, beyond here, of course, this is Metro. So that's their entire facility. And then we look at all of the opportunities for development. All of this area here is of course something that we will want to have developed, redeveloped. And then we move further down. This is the lot that the East Loop said created for the businesses that are along here to the right. And so then we get to
Right, you're in the East Loop now.
yes, absolutely. So if you want to go ahead and get started, you can.
Yeah, if you could go back to the parking lot, that would be great.
Okay.
This does go really fast.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Were they
And we're
driving?
not driving fast. That's the weird thing.
Yeah,
It's like, I don't know
I'm
why
not
to say this.
keep back their speed limit when they were doing this. I'm not, no. So this is, thank you, Kimberly. This is where the East Side starts. We do have a little tail on the south side. It's at De Bolivar. But the north side starts at Laurel, and we are part of the form-based code district. There's going to be a Delmar De Bolivar form-based code district, and we're in the final stages of the draft plan before it goes to the city departments to then be written into an ordinance. And that will include the corridor here and then go south on Delmar to Forest Park Parkway. So that will be the form-based code district. And so then this is the East Loop CID. We do business as the Delmar Loop. We are part of the historic loop, the 8-block district. And this is this feels like old footage because now so the parking lot is we lease that from the History Museum, and we manage that lot, and we just installed signage, and we're working on lighting. Last year we did a lighting project in the 5800 block along, I like to call that like our almost little Main Street area there, and then we're working on doing a pedestrian crosswalk right here at Laurel that will go to the parking lot, and working with BPS on that, and they are going to manage the construction for us, but we'll be putting in pedestrian signage and bump outs. So that will also serve as hopefully a little bit of a traffic calming project as well. And then as you go west, you can go down west. This is the Loop Trolley building, as you can see. And then also on this block that we're passing, almost all of the businesses are Black-owned businesses and women-owned businesses. In the East Loop, we have 32 Black-owned businesses. Of that, of those business owners, 23 of them are Black women-owned. And just to give you a quick overview of everyone else, we have 26 women-owned businesses and 17 immigrant-owned businesses. So it's quite a diverse group of business owners. And just as you pass the Loop Trolley building, this building stop is St. Louis Design Alliance, and that building was a Peach Sure Save store. It was a long time just problem property and problem business in the area. I grew up in Skinker de Bolivar. One of my neighbors was killed at the shop when they were there was a very violent act that occurred. And so it was always a long-term issue in the neighborhood. And now it is the St. Louis Design Alliance, and they unearthed, I probably won't be able to see it as it drive by, but on the side, so when that building was constructed, the entryways were little retail banks along the Hamilton side, and they removed the siding that had been put on the building, and they discovered this ornate brickwork. So, that was kind of neat to uncover that and show the historic fabric of the building. And so now their business is there. It was recently sold to Jeffrey McGee, who is, as you mentioned, a Black architect. So it's now another Black-owned business in the East Loop. And then across from there, the original owners of the St. Louis Design Alliance built this. It's called the Gotham, and it's got retail on the first floor. It is fully occupied retail, and then there's a health facility that occupies the rest of the building. And then on the second and third floor are apartments.
Well,
And then-
what's happening on the left side there where it's empty green lot?
So that, you can stop, that belongs to, or is owned by, I should say, the Skinker de Bolivar Community Council Housing Corporation. I guess it's the Skinker de Bolivar Housing Corporation, just not council. And they've owned that for a long time. They also own the Allenton, which is on the corner of Hamilton and Delmar on the southeast corner. And that is, I think that they would sell it. I'm not sure that they actually themselves, they're a very small not-for-profit, would have the capacity to do a development. I think they'd have to issue an RFP. I haven't talked to them in a long time about that, but they have been approached periodically, well, at least pre-pandemic. So I'm not sure where they are right now.
They own the building over here on the left?
Correct. This building that's on the left side at the corner of Delmar and
Right
Hamilton.
here.
That's,
Right here.
they have 3 retail stores and 2 levels of apartment housing. And then
Much opportunity.
we're coming up, you can stop here. Here's St. Louis Artworks, which is a major hub of creativity and activity, and a really awesome just amenity to our district. Right by, so this is DeGiverville in Delmar. I don't know if you can really see the crosswalk very well, but this
It's
is
right
another,
here.
yeah, this is another location that will be installing a crosswalk. And then on the corner there's a vacant lot, and Carl Emo purchased that lot, and he'd like to build an Emo's there. And right now he's working with the different committees that give recommendations to for development there. So that's being negotiated and worked out. And
Rochelle, is this part of the district already under the form-based code, so it would be pushed to the sidewalk?
yeah, so we're kind of in a weird place with that, because we would like to see, we've asked that developers respect that we're in the process of doing a form-based code, but there's really nothing that we can do to hold them to that. And so the EMO's architects and their staff are working with us to negotiate that. I think we're going to come up with something that makes everybody happy.
Good.
Yeah. It's a really tight fit though. I mean, that lot, it's a very small lot. So it's kind of a headache for everyone right now to try to fit even a small amount of things that they really need there. So we're hoping that they can do that, but yeah, they're looking for at least a 0 lot line on the front of the
Great.
building. Yeah, and so yeah, but that is a really interesting and good question, because we are doing the form-based code, and we are hoping to see new developments adhere to that, but in the process of doing it, since it's not an actual ordinance, we can't enforce it. and that's been very problematic, you know, from our, like, here we are, everybody gets really excited about the opportunities that the form-based code is going to bring, but we can't enforce it. And then, so we're just like in this really frustrating kind of gray area but most of the people that we've been talking to that have come looking to do things are willing to work with us. So that's good. So we can go down the street. So we're going to come to the Metrolink station. The Wabash station is owned by Washington U. If you want to stop for a second, or Washington U owns the Wabash station. They also own the Dobbs tire store site, and they own a portion of the properties that are on the south side of the building here. They are in discussions about what they will be doing with that, and they haven't been able to tell me yet, but I mean, we're hoping to see a transit-oriented development there, using those parcels that they do own. And my guess is, and I can't speak for them, is that they'll probably do an RFP of some sort, but it would then, by the time they are ready to do that, we will have the form-based code in place. So,
Yeah, and that's pretty much my understanding, that it's definitely going to be development that fits in with TOD. So we have yet to get further information, but we do know that we should have it in not too much longer, because I think that they actually want to see some actual plans start to hit the ground next year.
yeah, that would be awesome. I know
Yeah.
things have been on hold. The pandemic, of course, played a role. So, but we're very optimistic and hopeful, and moving forward, literally now.
Okay.
So now you're getting more into, on the right, that tall building is the Everly, and that was built I think in 2014. I'm sorry,
2017.
2017. So I knew it was a couple of years since it wasn't that old, but it's a 12-story building, and I think they have like 480 residents. It is student housing, and but last year it was 100% occupied, so they've been doing really well. It lends a lot to supporting the businesses in the Delmar Loop. So there's a lot of foot traffic with the students that are living there. And then on the left, if you haven't been, this is Prime 55. They have awesome food. It's owned by Orlando Watson. He's a former music producer. And if we could slow down.
I didn't even start it today. Okay, there we go.
Okay. No, you can keep going. Sorry.
Okay.
We're coming up to the pageant theater, which most of you know, in Delmar Hall. In normal times, the both Delmar Hall and the pageant bring over 250,000 people to the Loop, and that really feeds into supporting our restaurants and the nightlife there. And they're back in full swing, and they've been having sold out concerts. We're looking forward to their holiday lineup. They have El Monstero, which is a Pink Floyd tribute. Not a big Pink Floyd fan, but I would go back and see that again and again. It's a really awesome show. And so it's been having the pageant as, it really creates a very strong and vibrant entertainment hub for us. And, they're internationally known. They're recognized nationally as well, and bring, all kinds of different performers, like from Robert Plant, who many of us would remember from Led Zeppelin, to Lizzo was there, so it's just a very, the spectrum of music styles and genres is really amazing. And the people that come, it's really fun to have them there. Like, people will line up to get in starting around noon, and depending on who the performer is, you can have also a very lively group of people waiting for them. So it just adds a lot of fun to the district. So and then also this on the left coming up, stop where the church is, That, no, if you could just back up for just a little bit. So on the left, you can see it from here. There's the church building. That building that was vacant for 15 years. At one point, it was going to be an African-American history museum that was going to be sponsored by Emerson, but somehow the funding was shifted. I don't really know the whole story, so I don't feel like I can really talk about what happened. However, so the project did fall apart. Joe Edwards owns the building. He put over $1 million into renovating it, and now it's a medical marijuana dispensary called Suede. It's absolutely stunning on the interior, and so it's now in full use and fully renovated and very solid building, which is great to see. And then that's right across from the Moonrise Hotel that you can see too as we're going down the street. And then on the corner, if you stop right here, that is the former church's chicken site at the corner of Delmar and Skinker. And there is a proposed development by Opus. They are wanting to build more student housing there. They're proposing a 14-story building, and it's now under review again by the committees that will make a recommendation to the Skinker Developer Community Council, and then the Community Council would make a recommendation to the city departments that would approve it. And then also the Alderwoman is reviewing it as well, Heather Navarro. So if it goes through, then we would see it go online in the fall of 2024. And then catty corner to that lot is the Link building, and that building went online in 2020. We've had over $30 million of development in the district since 2020. That included the other, the Suede building that I just mentioned, the former church building, the St. Louis Design Alliance, and then also the Link building, which you'll see. And the Link building is almost 100% occupied. I think there's still one more retail space available. And we just had ITAP open there. And since April of 2020, we've had 9 new businesses come into the district. So it's been nice to see that.
Rochelle, if the trolley doesn't happen, are they really going to
Yes.
tear up the trolley's tracks? Would they really do that to the businesses that are there, or just let them leave the tracks there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's all breaking up. It's all breaking up. No. I'm sorry. You have to admit, like, a lot of people have been asking me about the trolley lately for some reason. No, yeah, I don't know, Maxine. That's a really good question. We are waiting to hear what will happen with that. I was talking to someone today who said that there's a possibility that the trolley could be taken over by a private company, but that was the first time that I heard that, and I don't know if that's possible even. So I don't know what the I don't know what would happen in the city of St. Louis, but it's been written about and reported on that the city of U City has a I guess they have a bond issue or something with they made them place a bond. The TDD is actually the manages the whole project, and then they contract out to the Loop Trolley Company. So
We won't make you be the expert on this, but I would think that if it doesn't ever reopen, we should have the citizens be able to determine maybe what happens to it in terms of tearing up the streets, and they didn't let us have a say in putting it there. So maybe they would let us have a say in what happens afterwards, because it'll be a disaster for all the businesses on there. And I don't think they could do it. So we don't have to discuss it today because we can't do anything about it, but I just throw that out if you're at a meeting where they're talking about the trolley and decide to tear up the tracks. I think we should just fill them in.
Oh, I agree with you. I'll just pave over, and because, I mean, we don't want to see, it would just be very frustrating for everyone. But I mean, I would like to see returning some greenery to the 58 and 5900 blocks. And that's another thing I didn't mention while we're going down the street is we are working with the city of St. Louis. We've got scheduled, we're going to plant over 40 trees in those 2 blocks that we saw where our parking lot is. And then right as you get up to the Metrolink tracks. And then we're also working on a lighting project, and we're getting new trash cans, which, you know, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but the trash cans that we have are just awful, and they just scream, just throw trash everywhere, you know, because they don't have lids or anything. So we're actually working with the St. Louis Artworks to repurpose some of the trash cans into planters. So their apprentice artists are designing those, and then in the spring we'll be putting them out. And I actually, Maxine, have been talking to Matt Schindler at Gateway Greening to see if there's some way we can work with them on that. So there are some things that we are doing, but in terms of the trolley, if it's not going to be running, then yeah, we're already talking about what can we do. You know, we want to make those blocks more walkable, more attractive, and just bring back trees and enhancements, and possibly some traffic calming, you know. I loved what Kevin was saying about the parts of Delmar that he's working on, and that's exactly what I would love to see happen in those 2 blocks that are between the Metrolink and De Bolivar. And you know, I was also thinking, like, when you said there should be a doggy daycare, is like, well, maybe we could, if we could get the Loop Trolley headquarters building, then we could just do that there.
I think that Lisa and I decided it might be a good use for the place across from Quick Shop, from the Quick Trip, whatever it is there. You know, there's like I don't know what it is there. It's been boarded up for a long time, but on the corner of Goodfellow and Delmar.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, with that yard and everything, like a barcade place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think from just seeing, so being able to visually see Delmar and see what it looks like, although, you know, the footage is a few months old. I know that it happened since I've been here, which is May. And of course it was a beautiful day because the sun was out and the sky was blue. It wasn't today. And it definitely didn't happen this week because we haven't had any of that weather this week. So yeah, it's a little old, but you know, the idea was to actually be able to sort of visualize. And so if you hear, first of all, I just want to say that the amount of cooperation and just, you know, for lack of a better word, sway that is in this room right now, you all would be able to move mountains working together and strategizing and coordinating your efforts so that from Taylor, it'll be a seamless transition from Taylor all the way down through the loop with all of the work that you guys are putting in individually, that for lack of a better word, has not on purpose been cooperative to this point, but now you're in a format to where it can be coordinated. You know, it might not be, you know, specifically, that's not how it was thought out to begin, but now that's the way that it's going. And so that's really encouraging to see, and having everybody to give input, and I agree completely with Lisa that everybody sharing, you know, what your timelines are for your projects and your plans so that everybody can sort of coordinate their efforts together. And, you know, because that's going to impact how everybody is able to access resources and how everything is going to go with plans that the city might have in terms of infrastructure, and just being able to roll everything out. 2022 is going to be an amazing year just based on what we see happening, you know, right now in the plans that everybody has. So it's really encouraging. So with that,
So can I just throw one thing in there to your point?
Absolutely.
Lisa, remember I talked to you about the fact that I've got these 2 Carleton interns that will be working for us specifically for the DMD. I'm wondering if one of the things that we might task them to do is getting together with the 4 entities that are doing things and come up with this comprehensive, like, calendar of when we're anticipating these different kind of a global map and then anticipated dates of construction and stuff. Because that can be kind of tedious, but that could be something that I think would fit well with their time
Yeah,
to
Jason,
get done.
that would be totally amazing. Kevin's probably, I'm surprised Kevin has not unmuted, but yeah, Kevin, when we left, the design committee met last week, and once we had everybody in the room, we knew instantly that the next step were to bring all of the developers together to just kind of talk shop and timeline and strategy. And you made a good point earlier. If somebody's looking to put a coffee shop somewhere, they can look globally, where is it going to go, who has space for it. So the fact that you now have some students that you're willing to bring to the table to help do some of that lead work, I think it's fantastic. So I think Kevin and Guy and Tony, that's your committee. So whenever you guys are ready to move that together, I think that's great. And then I'll also just add that, I don't know if you guys know her, her name is Catherine Shackelford, and I'm going to mess this name up, but she is an urban planner, senior urban planner with the Lockmuller Group right here in St. Louis. Their office is down on 10th Street. They are a part of the West End plan, and she has agreed to join the design committee, and she says she'll attend. She's already signed up for November 17th, and she says she can't wait to see you guys in January.
So Lisa, Jason, I had actually just hit you in a direct message, just saying the same thing, that in our meeting last week with the design committee, we kind of figured that we need to bring us together and talk more cooperatively. Like one of the things that happens when you buy franchises is they outline for you territories. So it helps you from cannibalizing other projects. Well, we have the ability to do the same thing, based off what's happening here. We should complement each other going east or west. And for me, it's just a matter of like, you're my closest neighbor. So I need to communicate with you the most. And then your next neighbor is the Delmar Divine. And we need to make sure that we're communicating going west. And then overall, if the interns can help, especially since Lisa just volunteered, the urban planner, to make sure that we're all communicating, because one of the things, having worked with the city for the last 6 years, there's no real master planning. And so all of our projects are always cannibalizing each other. But this right here is kind of a historic opportunity for us to communicate with each other and then bring the city in to help and not interrupt. So, but I think we're all getting on the same page, and that's very exciting for me.
Well, and I think just to reaffirm that, one of the things I've noticed in Midtown, I've on a particular corner that like Jefferson and Locust, we're looking at bringing restaurants and stuff in. And then, a perfect example is that Starbucks built a block away, right? And so all of a sudden, when I'm in my narrative with people about those restaurant deals, well, Starbucks thinks there's the traffic count and walkability in order to go there, then what's the problem, right? And basically in that matter of fact. So when all of a sudden you're telling me that Jamba Juice is going to your location and I'm talking about a location a block away, Kevin's got Jamba Juice going in. If Jamba Juice will approve that site, then why would you not approve this site? Or you just kind of have that ammunition collectively that we need to be able to use as a group in order to be moving that needle forward. So I think it's very important. And I mean,
100%.
Is that we just talked about this this pet daycare. Well, we just had a group that was very well qualified that wanted to do that in the Delmar Maker District, but the neighborhood behind it wouldn't agree to it, right? Because they didn't want to hear barking dogs. Well, that group's already got the funding and all that kind of stuff. So we need to immediately they don't want it in the Makers District, but I didn't have this conversation with you guys yet. Well, we need to reach out to those people and say, hey, they want you a block down.
Absolutely. And being in marketing for years, one of the things I've gotten accustomed to understanding is that we have a real one-horse town mentality in St. Louis, and we think it's not enough capacity if this person is doing that. But I love when I go to Atlanta and other cities, and you can just go to different districts and experience different stuff. So if I know what you're having there, that doesn't gut me. It gives me the opportunity to draw in something different over here, more exciting. As long as we're communicating, we can complement each other and not cannibalize each other. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Absolutely. So, okay.
One more thing, Kimberly, I just wanted to
Okay.
add, if you guys got a chance to join that mobility call with Metro the other day, I think we hold a lot of cards, and I think they recognize that. I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us to get together with them, and they definitely want to get together with us. So I'm going to look to Jason, because Jason, I think, owns property right there at that corner. What they proposed yesterday, I wasn't real happy with. I think Kevin made the point was what they're proposing now is what they should be doing anyway. It's just fixing up the streets for their patrons. I mean, they weren't doing anything spectacular. They were making room for their bus to park. It's like, okay, like, what are you going to do to help improve our neighborhoods? And that is a significant corner because it's the entrance to 4 neighborhoods. You got the entrance to the West End, the entrance to Academy Sherman Park. You do have the entrance to the Makers District, and then to Maxine's Park. You know, what about Delmar Divine going the other way? So I just think that it is a huge opportunity to do something even bigger than they even think they have the capacity. I think it's going to be up to us to push that conversation and push that envelope as far as we can take it. The city has money that, quite frankly, they don't know what to do with. I think if we want a roundabout, we can get one. I think if we want, to do something on that corner with some, big, play space along with the bikes and the trail and everything, we need to just ask for everything and see what we get. But what they presented was, I was very underwhelmed, I'll just say.
That's funny you said that, because I thought the same thing. It looked just like a maintenance plan to me. There's nothing. Okay.
Yeah, but so now, cooperatively, Delmar Main Streets. So this is the seat of power. This is what you have to be able to move forward and influence what it is that the city might think about doing, and be able to offer them valid data, be able to give them timely feedback, and let them know that these are the things that are going on around what it is that you are proposing to do. And like Kevin said, we don't have, there is no city plan. It just happens. Stuff just happens. You just look up and all of a sudden something is there. It's like, what is going on here? Nobody is giving any thought or, just any real consideration for how this is fitting in with what's already here, or even thinking beyond 5 or 10 years. How it, what's the longevity going to be? So you guys get to do that. And I'm really, really encouraged to see that it is you all who is doing it, because your feedback and just your activity and your engagement, what you've already invested, shows a great deal of commitment and care for the community, and that's really that's really important. I got one question from Jackie. She wants to know, how can we make sure that nationally owned companies maintain and care for the communities? And so and so now she's naming names, like Family Dollar and all of the other ones that come in. So that level of accountability, that's infrastructure that you can build in as a nonprofit in this space. That's how you can move forward. They're, working with the community organizations, the community improvement districts. That's infrastructure that can be built in to make sure that there's accountability, or that they just don't show up, because you don't want to keep perpetuating that same the same activity and the same behavior, and seeing the same types of things showing up across the city, because we keep allowing these same bad actors to come in and take up space. When you have a special use district, everybody has to come through a special approval process. And so at that point, you get to say yay or nay, to that, and make the referral and move it forward to the city. So, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to follow the recommendations of those districts. So.
I was going to say with that, I think, like the first step is, definitely try the nice way, try to engage them and say, hey, this is this great program. We'd like for you to be a part of it. And these are some of the things we'd like to see you improve with your business. It's like with the cleanliness, with the fence, the trash in the back, fronts and sides, and then see how those reactions and how that those interactions go. And if they don't seem that they want to participate, or like their unwillingness to do those things, then I think, you know, taking the necessary steps, the next steps to compel them in more stronger terms to be a better neighbor.
Yeah, and I think Lisa just mentioned that the West End Plan team is planning on engaging Family Dollar Management. So to be able to engage them in conversation, and I've actually worked with a few Family Dollar stores in the different municipalities that I've worked in, and most times they will cooperate when they know that eyes are on them, and they, you know, when they're working with municipal government, it's a different type of sort of accountability, because they know that they will start getting fined and they will start, you know, getting into some real trouble, and so they don't want that. And you know, the response from a community organization to them, you know, it might prompt you know, positive response, but you know, you follow the steps that you have in place, and then you know, you advance things forward as need be, because you don't want to have multi-million-dollar investors, you know, investments being made, and you got this eyesore that won't cooperate at all. So with that, it is 4:35, and you have been held longer than you were actually supposed to be held, but it was good to see everybody, and I hope that everybody was able to get a lot of information, and sort of, you know, get a different perspective of the work that you're going to be engaging in and how that's going to play itself out. And you're already planning to organize and distribute work and do those types of things. So I hope that, again, it was time well spent. Lisa, you have any final comments?
Yeah, last thing, I'll just say, continue to share the information about November 17th. I'm watching the Eventbrite registration. So share the flyer, share those links, and spread the word. We really want to get great attendance so that we can, you know, get as many opinions and feedback and comments from our entire community. So thank you. It was great to see everybody today.
So I want to thank Kevin and Jason and Rochelle. I think Maxine got off, but I want to thank all of you guys for narrating and talking us through your plans, and giving us sharing the information. And again, it was good to see everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and be safe.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Same to you. Thanks, Kimberly.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.